activities. So I'm just going to walk you through verbally. So what I created was called a success journal. So I focus on things like health and body, career and work, money, personal desires, material things, spiritual growth, relationships, and education. And I show you on page 29 and page 30 and 31 exactly how I set it up. So for example, if you had one of those little dollar books, right? So on page 1, you would do my success journal is for 2022, and then you put the exact date, right? And then what I do is I pick the category that I want to be successful. So it'd be business, right? I pick 5 goals. So this would be the front of your book, right? During the timeline. So you would pick these goals, and then come in here, this is the daily activity. So the way that I set mine up is I would focus on how much do I weigh, just to keep myself at a healthy weight, right? And I put, how do I feel? Every single day, I always check how I feel at the end of the day. How do I feel, right? And if I feel off or I feel out of sorts, I'm going to ask myself, what are the things that trigger me? What were the dream feelings that pull me in or out of my vibration? And so like I told you guys at the beginning, I've evolved since I did this. And then my whole goal every single day is to be on the highest level of vibration as possible. So some of the activities that I do basically is, I told you guys about the strategy. If someone upsets me, what I do in that day is I grab onto it, I write it down in my stomach or however you want to picture it, I take it out and I file it away, and I wait for 24 hours, I pull it back out and I revisit it. That's how I keep my emotions in check. And I was able to evolve into that by doing this. So basically, right here I would write 10 things I'm grateful for, right? You can start with 3. Now 3 or 2. Gratitude is one of the most important things to stay focused on your goals. It is the #1 thing. When you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Oh, God. I don't know, you hit the alarm, and then you sit on the toilet and all of a sudden you look at Instagram and it just, all the negative thoughts kicking. I'm so tired. I start right away, thank you for waking up. Man, thank you for this bed. And just start saying thank you, thank you. Like people can really struggle with this when you practice every single, see Kevin writes in his journal every single day. It could be thank you for the fact that I have a floor to stand on. It could be thank you for the shoes, but you're just practicing gratitude, right? Because immediately we're going to start thinking negative right when you wake up. Okay? So this just gives you an exact example of how to build out a success journal. Okay? We're going to have you build them out, but it's going to be take way too long. So let's give you an example. Okay? As we move into page 33, which is really interesting. So I put this. Super cool. So I wrote this in 2013. Again, vision and paper, right? So I put this in 2013, hoping that this would be a program in the future. And now basically what we teach is your inner self to be you. So it's pretty wild. So it says right here in the middle core, you got your goals, your relationships, career, tornadoes, completion, dream pillars, and unwavering belief. But the core, it all comes back to you, right? It all comes back to your decisions you're making on a daily basis. Okay? All right. So self-esteem and self-confidence, that's where all this comes back to. It's like one of the biggest things you should be working on is your self-worth. I think you had said self-worth, right? So yeah, talking about self-worth, right? Self-worth is so unbelievably important. And what I used to teach people in corporate America, and I talk about this a lot in my podcast, is you are always going to be paid at the level you respect yourself. That's hard for people to accept, that you're paid at the level that you respect yourself. We always say the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? It would be that person who's probably the person coming to my office, like, hey, I'm looking for a pay raise. And you can see their confidence, and they're like, the people that would come in and present me a business plan, they're like, yeah, walked in with a business plan. That's how at the level he held himself. He held himself at that level. And so that's why I say I am the greatest of all time. I'm the top of the mindset coach in the world and crypto coach in the world. Now, I say that, and it turns people off so much. And the question I was asking is why? Why would that turn someone off when I say I'm the top health and mindset and crypto coach in the world? Why wouldn't I say that, right? But there's no ranking that shows that. Hell yeah, there is right here. Right here, it already exists. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. And when I started to say that, it felt uncomfortable to me. But once it started to feel comfortable to me, when I started getting introduced on podcasts as the top health and mindset coach in the world. Nobody looks for a ranking. They just believe that I'm the top health and mindset coach in the world because I believe it. That's really important to understand, because what is a ranking? What happens when a judge of panel of people are judging somebody on stage? What is it? What is it? It's their opinion. It's just their opinion. And guess what? I shape their opinion by letting them know I'm the greatest of all time. So I want you to, please.
The greatest example of that in the past as Muhammad Ali.
Yes, yes, that's where I love this. That's where I got it. Yeah, he is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He's the greatest of all time. Mike Tyson, when he was in his prime, and I'm actually obsessed with him now. He's evolved into this new human being. If you watch Mike Tyson, he was a vicious human being. But have you seen his evolution of where he's at now? It's a beautiful. He talks about his fears and how fearful he was, and he's evolved into this very beautiful, soft, gentle human being, which is really interesting. But Mike Tyson, he's like, I'm Alexander the Great, I'll eat your child. He was like, he believed in himself, right? George Foreman, yeah. And so there's all the greatest of all time who believed in themselves. And I think what they finally found out is that to say you're the greatest of all time is not putting someone else down. By me saying I'm the greatest of all time doesn't mean Kevin's not the greatest of all time, right? Kevin's different fingerprint, different DNA. That doesn't mean you have to walk around telling everybody you're the greatest of all time. It's a choice that I made within my paradigm, and it's because my purpose, it's what I want for my life, right? I want to be known as the greatest of all time with what I do. So self-confidence was something that I had to personally build. We were just talking about like building up my own self-confidence and standing on my own 2 feet, okay? Meditation. That's why we use the sound healing bowls. We're going to do a little bit more meditation tomorrow. It's really, really important to spend some time. Now, meditation, when people hear that, like, I don't have time to meditate. Yes, you do. Every single person has time to meditate. Meditation isn't a Buddhist monk sitting on top of a mountain like this. Meditation is, maybe if you're a single mom or you're a busy mom, sitting on the toilet by yourself with the phone off with the lights off is meditation. That's meditation. It could be laying in bed for 5 minutes and just sitting there. And try to think of nothing. Just be present. Or go sit outside. She talked about taking your shoes off, grounding yourself. There should be some form of removing yourself from this crazy, busy world on a daily basis. Okay? Let's see what else we got here. Speak to yourself, talk about meditation. Let's go through this. Giving back. Giving back. So one of the best dopamine things is giving back, right? So a powerful thing that I heard recently from an amazing human being. Okay, so now we are going to go into just lost myself. Sorry about that. Building in. Check this out. Don't tell me what you're doing. And I'm going to teach your best friend mentality real quickly. I'm teaching others secret techniques. So I got this book I'm launching. So now your confidence is coming lower and lower, right? It's like, okay, now you're scared to open the book. It's like, dude. First of all, I'm the greatest of all time, okay? And I wrote this book, and it's going to like change people's lives all over the world. You know me, Billy. I'm a hard worker, right? Okay, cool. Now I have stop and go. Cool. So what do you think, man? So it's called the You Must Believe Way of Life. So people think it says unstoppable, unstable, but it's pretty cool, right? What do you think? Would you go through that program? What do you think about that?
Maybe.
Maybe? Why? Do you believe in like subconscious mind and all that stuff?
What have you done?
What have I done? I wrote a book.
Stay
Okay, cool, I got you. And all of a sudden, no matter how strong you are, all of a sudden you go home and you're like, shit. I'm going back to my job. I'm dead serious. That's how it happens. And so what you do is you walk up and you're like, oh, Kevin. I'm like, I remember what you said to me last time. Hey, how you doing, Kevin? What's up, man? Yeah. Got a lot of good stuff going on, my friend. See you soon. And you come over like, hey, Brenda. Man, you've been such a great support. I appreciate it. I want to show you something really cool. Check this out. Look what I got. What do you think about this? Yes, okay. And I got children. It's like, then you just keep building your confidence. And as Johnny said, you reveal it when you have it. You reveal it when you have it, but here's the disappointment, guys. Here's the disappointment. Guess what? They're still going to be the exact same person. So let me give you a specific example. I hate to keep picking on my dad, but so we have seen some success, right? So we had a position where our assets need to pay for liabilities. We had to get a company car because of taxes, all that stuff. So I pull up. So this is what I don't want you to get disappointed. I want to talk reality, right? So I show up to my parents' house, drive up in the new SUV for the business, right? So my pops comes out. He's like, and the little boy in me wanted a congratulations. He did it. I'm going to be honest with you, even though I'm this tough guy and say, I'll do whatever I want. He walks out. He's like, first he climbs in it, and he finds something wrong with it right away. And he's like, the seat's too low. What the fuck is this? And he's like, how'd you pay for this? I'm like, I actually didn't pay for it. You steal it? I'm like, no. And I'm just like, get out of my fucking car. This is where the disappointment comes in, because you're looking for justification from people outside. You're not going to get it. You has to be for you. And so we walk back inside, we sit down, and my mom knows everything. My mom's she's my cheerleader. And we're sitting there, and my pops is sitting there, and he's like, he's all shaking, and he's like, this is how he is. So what do you mean you got it for free? I'm like, well, assets pay for liabilities. And if you're willing to listen, I will share with you. And he just keeps talking over me. I'm like, and my mom's like, well, they built $1 million company. And he's like, you made $1 million? And I'm like, where's my money? He just cracks a joke, and I'm like, Dad, what do you want to know about my business? He's like, I don't know what you do. And I'm like, I realize that you don't know what I do. And then, like, the little boy, like, you know what? I'm like, it's all good, Dad. I'm like, I stole the car. He's like, oh. And then he changes the subject, because there was nothing to talk about, because there's no reason to convince him of my dream, right? So I just wanted to not make it grim, but that's the reality. That's the reality of some people. And these are the people you're going to work with right now. Don't expect anything from somebody, right? The people who are going to clap for you are going to clap for you. They're just going to clap for you, right? And some people will clap for you when you're down, and when you're up, the clapping stops. But that's not for you. That's for them to work through. So I just want to make sure we talk about that, because that's really important.
So something that in my world that I found is, because people call and they're like, oh, I want to start my own business. People are so accustomed to seeing people talk and never do anything. So when you say you're going to do this, that, or the other, the world just assumes you're talking. So my rule of thumb is, I don't talk about what I'm going to do. I talk about what I've done. So I didn't roll out, I literally I spent tens of thousands of dollars to build a business. And I didn't talk one peep about it on social media or to anybody outside my circle until it was pretty much done and we were going into beta testing. And they're like, oh, what's this? And it's like, oh, it's what I've spent 24 months working on, in addition to running these other 4 businesses. So I think when once again, the proof is in the pudding, because you're just a dreamer until you're a doer, but you're not a doer until you've done it.
Yes, that's the thing. I think that's the thing that Johnny talked about. Yeah, he pulled by, he's like, hey guys, check this house out. And then again, he becomes your biggest fan, right? He's like helping you out. So now, thank you for that. That's freaking awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go into an activity on page 38 and 39. We're going to try to knock this out by 4. And at 4 o'clock, we're going to put a crypto panel up here. We're going to talk crypto. So now this is one of my favorite parts of the activity. Okay, so page 38, what you're going to do is you're going to write down people, right? We're going to go specifically towards our goal, right? Who are the people within your life? So if you're going for happiness, who are some of the people that are going to help you with that? Is the person emotional support? Are they accountability? They motivate, support. So you're going to write them down, and those people are going to end up on the next page. And then you have to ask yourself a question. So someone might be accountability, but then you get over to the other side, you realize they're a dream killer, right? So you have to really identify. So first, don't even worry about the other page. Just write down the person that's in your life or close to you in your life that will be involved in this, or you may tell it to, and write down, are they emotional, accountability, motivate, or support? Okay, so take about 10 minutes to write those people down. And this is based on your goal that you're setting. You ask, what if it's just one person that says my support? What if it's just one person? So this is interesting. We talked about this. We were dwindled down to hardly anybody. And by focusing on that one somebody, now we have so many people now that are in our tribe now. It's interesting. We focused on that one person that supported us, and now our tribe is massive. It went from one to a bunch that were in alignment with what we're doing. So that's an interesting thing to see that we had such a small circle, and now we have all of you guys and the Warrior Academy, and people all over the world that we're friends with. And so when you start with that one and you really focus on being the true version of yourself, you're going to attract and magnetize those people who are going to support you. And eventually, I think what we're talking about over here is you'll start to pull those people. Some people will come along with you, which is great, right? They're like, I want that. I want what you have. So awesome. Yes, please.
Yeah, so I've had like three companies that I've had, and really the dream killer was inside myself. And it's one of those things that you don't know about, right?
Yeah.
And so I would get to, and even then, I'm in construction, so I work for very large construction companies, and very, very good at what I do. But I always get to a certain level for some reason, and I would sabotage it in some way or whatever. The same thing with my businesses. One got more successful than the other. Then I'd go back to corporate, and I'd start again, get back, and it just flip-flop all the time. I'm like, why? I keep going to the same spot, but the same level, like this level of, it's like the next step of real success, right?
Yes.
And what I discovered is that from childhood, whatever, there was always something in the back of my head that I wasn't worthy of belonging in that stratosphere. So right when I would get to the right up there into being a board chairman or whatever, I sabotage myself.
Wow.
And so there's things in life that we go through and don't really notice it. But notice the things that, as you go through, what I learned is that they're reoccurring.
Yes.
They keep happening in different forms, but something there. So you get a certain spot or a certain conversation or whatever, and there's reoccurring dialogue, I guess you could call it, that keeps impacting you and is being present to it, like reprogramming and noticing it.
That's powerful. Powerful. I mean, that happens in business, relationships. Often you break free and you're like, oh, I'm gonna start this whole new life, right? And then you get into a relationship, the person's treating you well, like, oh, this can't be right. I'm gonna go and self-sabotage and go back in the same pattern again, right? That's powerful, because one of the biggest fears is success. People are like, man, I made it to this level, and then you're like, you just keep going through these cycles, and it's important. Thank you for sharing that, to recognize that and shatter through that. It's like, and know when you shatter to that next thing. Me and Billy were just talking about this. It's like an interesting thing because I'm in a whole new paradigm for my life and my timeline and the males in my family. And so now, the encouragement is once you look over the hill and it's like this, it's like I feel like a little kid, like this is new world that I'm experiencing now. And it's not as scary as you think. It's not as scary as you think when you get over there. It just seems so scary, and you get over there, it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then you sink in there, but then there's an icky process to get to the next level, right? And I don't hate the word use level, it's just the next evolution of you. And what we do is we get to that thing, and it's really uncomfortable, we step back into comfortability. It's like, let's just step back into it. But again, are you more committed to being the pain of being comfortable, or the pain of being uncomfortable and having what you want? You have to really decide which one you're more committed to as you leave. So thank you for that, it's awesome, thank you. You guys really get to crypto, man. Everybody's like, all right, Jeremy, do you want to?